I know this looks like a regular steak to you, but trust me, it's far away from that. That's because this steak has been 100% pasteurized. That means it's extremely safe to eat. That's because it was cooked for 4 hours. I used a method called sous vide. That's where you cook the steak in water at a specific temperature. Now the taste has no difference whatsoever, but for people that have immune system that are compromised, it's a great win-win. That way they can have wonderful taste like anyone else and not have to worry about anything. That is one of the many benefits of sous vide cooking. I can guarantee you've never seen a lasagna like this. That's because this is what I like to call a crispy lasagna. You see, unlike any other lasagna you ever had, this pasta has been deep fried first. Oh yes, making it super crunchy. Then on top of that, I smoked some short ribs, shredded in pieces, and it was ready. Of course, I had to make some sauces to go along with it as well. So I did a quick marinara sauce and also a white sauce called bechamel. Then it was time to put it all together. And I'll tell you one thing, if you love crispy edges on a lasagna, you're gonna love this one. Because instead of just having the crispy edges, you have the whole thing crispy. And it is fantastic. There's a reason why I'm dunking this steak right here in pineapple. You see, everybody wants their steak nice and tender, and pineapple has something that it's called bromelain. It's a type of enzyme that tenderizes meat. You gotta be careful with it though, because I did an experiment leaving it from 1 hour all the way up to 24 hours. In 1 hour we had good results. The steak was nice and tender and edible. However, the one for 24 hours, oh man, it completely disintegrated the steak. Unedible. So if you ever use the pineapple method, make sure you don't leave it too long. If not, it will completely disintegrate the whole thing.
It's like the steak took a in my mouth.
This is the greatest chicken I ever had in my life. And the best part is that it's super easy to make. You see, it's because it's all about the marinade. You first start out with some peppers. Throw it in and blend it. Then add in some onions, some jalapeno, garlic, thyme, brown sugar, some dried thyme, cinnamon, cumin, ginger paste, soy sauce, white vinegar, lime juice, olive oil, salt, and black pepper. Blend everything together because your marinade is done. This might not look like much, but it's the key of making incredible chicken. Talking about that, I highly recommend using dark meat. Just make sure to make some slashes so that the marinade can penetrate. Let it marinate as long as you want, because once the time is up, all there's left to do is to cook it on the grill. This will make your family extremely happy. And like I said, this is the greatest chicken I ever had in my life. I've heard that a 3 Michelin star chef was using sparkling water to tenderize his steaks. I was like, there's no way that this works. So I went ahead and tried it. Using $1 steaks, I submerged it in sparkling water. And I'm telling you, this is weird. But then I went ahead and cooked it on the grill. And if you know me, you know I like a crust. Once that was done, the only thing left to do was to try it and see if it works.
So to answer the question, does the sparkling water actually work?
It works.
Yes, it does.
Some people might say that this is a genius idea, but others might say that it's a terrible one. As you can see, this is an insane brisket with a crust. To be specific, a Parmesan crust. And it's super easy to make. The first thing you gotta do is trim up the brisket. You can choose a pre-made rub or make it your own. Then you wanna go ahead and take it outside to your smoker. And as it's smoking, baste it with a little bit of duck fat. After about 4 hours of smoke, it's time to take it off. Wrap it up in butcher's paper, which was drizzled with duck fat as well. As it's finishing cooking inside of the smoker, it was time to build the crust. For that, I threw in some mozzarella cheese, followed by sour cream, grated garlic, and a little bit of hot sauce. Mix everything together because this is going to be the glue on the brisket. As after 10 hours, my brisket was fully cooked. Then I went ahead and applied the glue spread we just made and a ridiculous amount of Parmesan cheese. Then all there's left to do is to put everything back into my smoker, as once the cheese was fully melted, my brisket was ready. Definitely give this one a try. Because some people might think that this is barbecue sin. I just call it barbecue heaven. This is mata hambre. I bet you've never seen anything like it. Or maybe you have, especially if you're from Argentina. And to make this meat is super easy. The first thing you need is beef belly. Yes, straight up beef belly, just like bacon but from beef. The first thing to do is to get it seasoned. I threw in a good amount of salt, followed by freshly ground black pepper, garlic powder, and a bunch of other stuff. Then I made a green paste, which has eggs, parsley, and cheese. Spread it all over the meat, then add whatever vegetables you like. Because now it's time to add in some boiled eggs. Roll everything into itself and cook it sous vide. Because once it's done, you are left with this, mata hambre. And if you've never had it, you should. It's popular there for a good reason.
Honey and Takis. That was delicious. I just launched my honey today. So let's try it with every snack. Potato chips. Ah! No! No! Cheetos. Oh, that's good. Oh, I like that. That's a real good one. Doritos. Oh, that's addicting. Chicharrón. But my favorite way to have it is with some toast. There's very limited quantity available, so if you want to get yours, link in bio.
You see, this is not what you're thinking. It's an egg yolk. Now, I can tell you right now, this is delicious, but it's tricky to make, and here's how. The first thing to do is to cook a regular chicken egg at 147 degrees Fahrenheit for 1 hour. The best way of doing so is to cook it sous vide. I mean, you can clearly take a look at it when I'm opening it up. Check it out. All you have to do now is to remove all of that egg white, because we are left with a beautiful egg yolk. You can eat this just like this, but to take it to another level, you just gotta deep fry it with some breadcrumbs. Now, this is something delicious, and if you've never had it, I highly recommend. See this juicy brisket? It is the most expensive brisket in the world. And even though it's humongous, you can take a look at my nephew right here. It's not about the size, but it is about the quality. This is a Japanese Wagyu A5 brisket. Basically the best of the best. To cook it, I kept it exactly the same way as you do a regular brisket. I first removed a lot of external fat. And trust me, this is not gonna go to waste. Once the trimming was done, it was time to get it seasoned. For that, I kept it really simple. Salt and pepper, that's it, nothing else. Threw it in my smoker and let it cook. Once I was done with the cooking, take a look at this. Now that is the most delicious brisket I've ever had in my life. Yes, it is expensive, but it's one of those things that you have to try in order to understand what it tastes like.
Let's make sushi from a whole tuna. We're gonna start by cutting along the spine.
Then we'll hack off the collar
Now we'll take off that tuna loin.
and cut it off the skin.
Now we'll cut out some tuna steaks.
Then cut some slices.
Now we'll start with our sushi rice.
Then we place the tuna,
Now some foie gras.
crispy onions.
Now some mayo.
Then we torch it.
Then roll it up.
Slice it up.
Cheers.
Cheers, buddy. Nick, that was one of the best sushis I ever had, man.
Let's make a cheese stuffed Wagyu burger. Start with Japanese olive Wagyu, the most expensive beef in the world. Now we'll chop it up, then grind it up, then we'll shape it into a ball, make a nice hole, add some caramelized onions and cheese. Then we'll cook our patties, then we'll flip it over. Look at that bubbly goodness. Now I'll slice my burger bun, place on that patty, a little lettuce, tomato, and special sauce. Slice it open. And there you have it, folks. This might just be the sexiest burger I have ever seen. Probably the tastiest burger I have ever made.